A blind girl sells flowers on the streets of 19th-century Bengal. Her life boxed in by rules she didn't make. Writing earlier this month, Paulami Sengupta looks back at the novel Rajani, where the only way out for a girl like her was a lucky twist of birth. Something interesting emerges when that fictional escape hatch meets a report from yesterday about kids in Assam. These students aren't waiting for a secret inheritance. They're children of laborers, sitting in classrooms and aiming for seats in government. It's worth pausing on how fiction solves poverty versus how real people fight it. One relies on a miracle of bloodline. The other bets on the hard work of a school desk. Writing earlier this month, Paulami Sengupta looks back at a 19th-century Bengali novel about a blind girl selling flowers in Kolkata. While the story is full of romantic metaphors about lotuses, the social walls of caste are much harder to break. Notice how Sengupta describes Rajani's physical defiance, specifically the moment she hurls a broken staff at a man trying to force her into marriage. It shows a character acting with her own fierce will.
To a 21st century reader, Rajani, 1877, by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, at first comes across as a novel on caste and flowers. Rajani, a low-born, blind girl of 19, makes a living by selling flowers. She frequents Ram Sadai Mitra's mansion in Kolkata to sell flowers to his wife, Labangalata. Seeing her for the first time, Labangalata's stepson Sachindra, a medical student, asks about her. "Flower girl? I was under the impression that she is some gentleman's daughter." Labanga said, "Why do you say so? Can't a flower girl be the daughter of a gentleman?" Later in the novel, when Amarnath rescues Rajani on a riverbank, he immediately concludes that the person tormenting her is a vile, low-caste person. Entering into the forest deeper, I found a monstrous man forcibly assaulting a young woman. On seeing them, I instantly understood that the man was a scoundrel belonging to the inferior caste, presumably a dome or a siuli. Then there are flowers. Rajani alludes to flowers when she muses on her feelings for Sachindra. I felt that I was enshrouded with flowers, flowers on my head, flowers on my feet. I was draped in flowers, flowers in abundance in the core of my heart. I felt as if the petals of a lotus blooming in a pleasant morning had entwined my arms, as if someone had garlanded my hands with rose flowers. Maybe I wished to hang with Sachindra, transformed as two flowers, thus coalesced from the stalk of a wild tree. Efflorescent prose. Chattopadhyay's language, replete with metaphors, similes, and breathlessly beautiful compound words, has an efflorescent quality. It is impossible to translate that effect in English, especially at this age when readers prefer a comprehensive, free-flowing narrative style.
Perhaps that is the reason the prose in Amita Roy's translation, often rambling but always lucid, gives a sense of agency and intention. If the question is what remains if that mellifluous quality of Chattopadhyay's language cannot be retained in translation, the answer is a lot. Two female narrative voices, Rajani's and Labangalata's, the neat structure of the novel wherein each of the main characters share their backstory in first person, Rajani's growth as a confident, resilient woman and her healing journey, and the curious characters of her suitors Sachindra and Amarnath. Rajani's parents arrange her marriage with Gopal, a married man, so she runs away from home. However, she is escorted home by Hiralal, a publisher of vulgar magazines. When Rajani turns down his marriage proposal, he abandons her on the bank of the river Hooghly. Rajani hurls a broken staff at Hiralal with success, underlining that she is a damsel who fights in distress. Later, when Rajani tells Amarnath about her love for another man, she says she cannot share much as she is a woman. Labangalata, the other young woman in the story, is devoted to a husband who is much older than her. Such is her devotion that she punishes her admirer, Amarnath, by inscribing thief on his back when he comes to visit her in secret. She is fond of Rajani, so she is the one who works out a similar match for her with Gopal so that she could bear him a child. Labangalata whisks Rajani out of her room when she refuses to marry Gopal. Her intentions may be kind, but her resolutions are bound by the rules of gender and caste. This disease has another type of disorder.
It advocates widow remarriage, putting an end to the practice of Brahmanas hailing from noble families, taking many wives, eradicating child marriage, abolishing caste system. Women who are now tied like cow in sheds, set them free. Let them graze on their own. I do not have a cow, Nor do I have much association with the cowsheds of others. I do not much wish to do away with the caste system. I am not educated to that extent yet. So let the division of caste remain. Let there be widow remarriage if it happens. Let the young people remain unmarried if it be so. A wanderer, an empathist and a scholar, Amarnath has his flaws. As he confesses, he is not sure whether the eradication of the caste system would bring about any positive change in society. He grew up with stigma as one of his aunts had eloped, and he made the mistake of trying to break into married Labangalata's chamber, though for love. He falls in love with Rajani, but steps back after knowing her mind. His sense of responsibility and his subsequent sacrifice attribute a different dimension to the novel. Sachindra, the man Rajani chooses, likes Rajani, but is dismissive of her as she belongs to a lower class and is blind. As the plot develops, Rajani's upper caste lineage and wealth come to the fore, with Amarnath's effort. Nevertheless, Sachindra resists the marriage proposal. This resistance seems like an imposition of his social conditioning. Sachindra falls ill, his disease exacerbating the debilitating effects of caste and a society not willing to accept disabled individuals. On the other hand, Rajani's blindness is cured by a hermit, proving that it is not a lifelong condition but a curable disease. Documenting caste. If we consider Rajani a fairy tale, then Rajani's character is never questioned.
She always manages to stay out of scandal. Perhaps the author wanted her to fight a patriarchal, ableist and casteist society with superhuman strength. Amarnath, Sachindra and Labangalata outgrow their rigidities in the course of the novel. Chattopadhyay, like Amarnath, does not do away with caste. Rajani turns out to be a lady from an upper caste family. This is where the novel disappoints. But it is also promising that Labangalata later realizes that society, with its barriers and stigma, can be crippling for men as well as women. In a touching moment, she apologizes to Amarnath for her harsh act of judgment. Ray's new translation of Rajani reintroduces a novel that documents and addresses the ambiguities of caste, class, and desire in the 19th century. It is also a story of fighting labels of disability and other social diktats with introspection and resilience. Instead of an academic, annotated text, Ray's translation uses an easier, story-like format. I wish we could know Ray's thoughts on translating Rajani. Perhaps a translator's note in the next edition of the translation would be helpful. Sanjukta Dasgupta's foreword to the translation is rich and comprehensive, bringing out the socio-cultural dynamics of the novel. It should also be mentioned that Rajani has been translated by Srijata Guha in Bankim Chandra Omnibus Volume 1, Penguin 2005. Like Ray, Guha too has rendered the narrative in simple prose, thus highlighting the conceits of stories and characters more than the language itself. Paulami Sengupta is the author of Maximum Love in Patel Nagar, Red River 2023 and Boyosondhir Horof, Boy Bhashik 2021. Rajani, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, translated from the Bengali by Amita Ray, Pen Prints Publications.
Sengupta shows how Chattopadhyay's Rajani is trapped by her low-born status until the plot provides a convenient way out. It's a 19th-century literary solution. The blind flower girl eventually gets to trade her basket for a mansion because she turns out to be a gentleman's daughter after all. The novel fixes the social friction by rewriting the girl's history. But look at the children in the next report from modern Assam. For 12-year-old Nishanta Rabha, there's no secret lineage waiting to be discovered. His father is a daily wager, and his reality is shaped by the search for work to help his family survive. The interesting thing is that while the old novel uses high caste blood to grant its heroine a seat at the table, these students are looking at a classroom chair as the tool to build their own. They aren't dreaming of being rescued by a plot twist. They want to become the ones doing the rescuing, as teachers or local leaders. Where Chattopadhyay's world requires a miracle of birth to solve poverty, the report from Golpara suggests the only way out is through the will Nishanta mentions. It's a shift from a story about who you were born as to a story about what you can learn to become.
Guwahati. Some out-of-school children share the dreams of their more fortunate counterparts to become doctors, engineers, or pilots if they get the opportunity to study. A few who attended 3 10-day motivational camps in southwestern Assam's Golpara district want to become MLAs. They are not awed by the status or lifestyle of legislators, but seek the power of elected representatives to change the lives of those around them. Others want to become teachers to educate those who cannot afford to go to school or cannot manage time after working to earn a living. The remaining children want to become entrepreneurs to create jobs and ensure that no one goes hungry. On Thursday, July 16, 2026, the last day of the motivational camps, 12-year-old Nishanta Rabha and 44 others underlined their ambitions after resuming their educational journey. Apart from helping with household responsibilities, I have to search for work to augment the family income. But I learned there is always a way if there is a will, said the youngest of 3 siblings. The son of Lankeshwar Rabha, a daily wager, and Boiti Rabha, who is chronically ill, Nishanta dropped out of Bordamal High School almost a year ago. A few days ago, Education Minister Ranoj Pegu said that school dropout rates in Assam had declined significantly over the past few years to 3.8% at the primary level, 5% at the upper primary level, and 17.5% at the secondary level. However, the dropout rate at the primary and secondary levels remains higher than the national averages of 2.3% and 8.2% respectively. To address the issue of school dropouts, the Centre for Microfinance and Livelihood, CML, organized the motivational camps for out-of-school children in Golpara's Balijana education block from July 6 to 16. CML is a Tata Trust's initiative to empower communities in the Northeast through sustainable livelihoods, capacity building, and grassroots development. Before the camps began, 15 education facilitators conducted a door-to-door survey across remote villages, covering the chars, sandbars, and hilly areas of the district. They identified 46 out-of-school children between the ages of 7 and 13 for the camps at 3 locations: Khasumari Lower Primary School, Pun Pandoba LPS, and Abrar Bhitta LPS. Child labour and migration. Kuldeep Das, CML's district lead for Golpara, said that the camps were designed to create a joyful, artistic and child-friendly learning environment. The children were provided with breakfast, lunch and lemon juice after outdoor activities. The primary objective of these camps was to motivate out-of-school children to return to formal education through meaningful, interactive and enjoyable learning experiences. Parents were also actively involved in the program to help them understand the importance of education and to support their children's aspirations, he said. Mr. Das said that the major reasons for children dropping out of school in Golpara are child labour and seasonal migration. Limited parental awareness of the long-term value of education also contributes significantly to the problem. Mintho Sangma, one of CML's education facilitators, said that an inspiring outcome of the camps was the confidence with which the children shared their dreams during storytelling sessions and interactive discussions. Their aspirations ranged from becoming teachers, doctors, engineers, pilots, and entrepreneurs to serving as MLEs and community leaders. We hope these camps will inspire children to believe in themselves and help them build a brighter future through education, he said. Deepanvita Kalita, CML's mathematics coordinator, said that the children who participated in the camps would be mainstreamed into nearby schools. To support their transition, each child will receive a mainstreaming kit containing essential educational materials, including a school bag, notebooks, pens, pencils, geometry box, umbrella, water bottle, and educational posters, she said. Our goal is not only to bring children back to school, but also to ensure they are equipped with the necessary learning materials to continue their education confidently, she added. CML is currently implementing the Developing Foundational Literacy and Numeracy and Reducing School Dropout program across 3 rural blocks in Assam: Balijana, Srijangram, Bongaigaon district, and Tamulpur district, in collaboration with Samagra Shiksha. Published July 16, 2026, 0342 p.m. IST.
A blind girl selling flowers in an old Bengali novel finds escape when a secret about her birth comes to light at the very end. That's a tidy ending. In the real classrooms of Assam, students are building their own exits with a pen and a notebook. Fiction fixes a life with a single lucky stroke. Real change moves at the slow speed of a lesson plan. What lingers is this: if a person's worth isn't decided by their father's name anymore, who gets to decide when the work is finally enough?